So if I can just take it back to like a little event sort of thing that happened back in the day, obviously South London orientated, but Damilola Taylor.
Mm.
Now, obviously in the year 2000, he was practically a child, 10 years old,
Yeah.
and he ended up being murdered.
Mm.
Obviously, from what if I'm not mistaken, it was a stab into the
To
leg.
the leg, yeah.
And so you was in the same school as him?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if we was to go back again,
Mm.
and I mean, what was the mood like around the area at that time? Because obviously looking back, this me being a Londoner as well,
Mm.
this is something there's certain key things that always like stick with me, sort of thing, innit? And that's
Yeah.
always gonna be a thing that I'm always gonna remember, given how
Mm.
young he was.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, are you actually physically being
Being
within
in
the
the school.
vicinity at the
Yeah, yeah,
time? You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, how did that affect you? Like, what was the mood, sort of thing?
I tell you one thing with Daminola's murder, right? Like, not only was I in school with him, and his murder is now nationwide, like worldwide, really. He's a 10-year-old that died. That went everywhere. From a stabbing at that, you get me? So that went everywhere. Not only is that happening within my school that I've just started, he died, again, fact check me, on the 27th of November. My birthday is on the 26th.
Mad.
So throughout primary school, I've never forgotten
Fact.
Daminola's
I
murder
feel you.
because
I
it's
feel you.
always the day after my birthday.
Timeline, innit?
Yeah, you get me? So um, one of my cousins was in class with him. So Daminola's he's a couple years older than me.
Oh, he's older.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a
Okay.
couple years older than me. But I remember I've definitely seen him at some point within but he died pretty close to when I started. You get me? Like, my cousin and that was more damaged than I was because they know him. You get me? Like, whereas me, I remember coming in school, seeing the thing on the news and all of that, but just feeling the energy around the school, the press, they're like flowers, and they're putting up all of the tribute stuff around the place and whatnot. But my thing was like, someone died. Oh, okay. You get me? Like,
So what's
okay.
that, like a thing where like you're kind of this is not new to you, basically?
It's definitely nothing new, but it was like, okay, people dying foreign
Mm.
as well.
Oh, so a realization that
Yeah,
okay,
you get me? Like, in
yeah,
my mind, shit only happened in Jamaica
okay,
because I don't know nothing else. You get me? So it's like, okay, cool. A child has died, and that was close to me too. You get me? And it's mad because looking back, now that I know, like, I've watched stuff on his story and whatnot, he got over here the same way as me. It was the same thing. He came over young and just started that primary school.
that's a
Our
fact.
stories, like, were started very similar and just, you get me, went a different way, obviously.
That's mad. I mean, like you kind of as well, like talking about the whole timeline thing, your birthday and when it happened. I
Mm.
mean, that's even more reason for it to never leave your mind,
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing. And that's
yeah, yeah. It
crazy.
stays, man. It stays.
That's crazy.
R.I.P. Daminola, man.
That's a fact. R.I.P. Man, for sure, man. So if we can obviously going back to yourself, what was your first interest? If we're talking, obviously now you're residing in
Mm-hmm.
foreign, you're in South London.
Mm-hmm.
What's your interest like as far as being, first residing where you are?
Early. If we're talking early, football, like football and dancing. Cause I'm from Yard, innit? So when I was on the dancing thing, this is Elephant Man, early days, pon the river, pon the bank. You know what I'm saying? We're out there, you get me? Like, young, but like, yeah, like football. Football was like, you get me? Like, always been a Man United fan, like,
Okay.
you get me? Like, from the jump.
And like how far would you say that your ambitions took you? Like, was you like playing for teams? Was you
Yeah, yeah,
getting,
yeah,
yeah?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So eventually, like, at that early stage, I just had the interest in football. Eventually played it, and then eventually they were saying I was half decent because I was playing for one and two little teams. You get me? Like, they were saying it weren't me. You get me? Like, I'm in year 5 playing for the year 6s. It weren't me. It weren't
Okay.
me that chose
Are
that.
you saying you had source like
Someone
that?
chose it. It weren't
Okay.
me, but I was all right. Is what they were saying. You get me? And then I guess from there, when you played for the year 6s, we then started to get scouted from like different like Sunday league teams or whatnot. I started playing for a football team called Waterloo FC. Now, they had like my age group, and then they have the year above, basically. And yeah, we made a lot of history, man. Like, the older team and that, like, I'm pretty sure the man them went like they did the Arsenal thing, like whole season, no undefeated and all that.
Invincibles.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, invincible stuff. Like the man them did, we did a lot of stuff
Yeah,
for that
100%.
team. You get me?
That's a little UK reference.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. You get me?
We got overseas viewership, but we want to make it clear.
Yeah.
The thing's called football. We don't know about soccer.
Yeah,
you know
the
what I mean?
soccer thing, the
That's a
soccer
bad
thing.
word,
That's
you know what I mean?
that's what you lot know. You get me? But we call it football.
That's
you
a
get me?
fact,
So
football.
yeah, I was playing football basically. Eventually from there, I started playing for London.
Okay.
So it was like all of the best Sunday teams. They like handpicked the players from each of those teams and then made them all represent London. So I was in that squad for my age group basically, and yeah, of course, from there, the aspirations is like, I want to take this, I want to be a footballer.
Facts.
You get me? Like, I want to play for Man United. And yeah, them dreams got crushed eventually. You get me?
Why would you say that?
I'd say the first thing that probably crushed those dreams was realization. We were supposed to play, I think, a team in Paris. And obviously, to go to Paris, you have to travel. So now I've gone home like, all right, cool. Like, oh, I'm going to France. And it's like, no, you can't go. It's like, why? And that's the first time I found out I wasn't legal in the UK. Or I wouldn't even say that I wasn't legal, because I guess really I weren't understanding everything at that point. I just knew I couldn't leave and get back into the country. So I guess when I thought about that, it's like, but Man United played enough Champions League match. Them man fly to Spain. Them man do that. I can't do that. So realistically, like, I'm not going to be able to travel then.
Okay.
Not fuck football, but all right, cool. It's not like at this point now, I don't have a main driving force again. Them dreams got crushed the moment. It's like, all right, cool. I can't travel.
It's interesting that you say that, as far as you sort of getting wind of how your immigration status is basically a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's not basically feasible for you to sort of travel.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you caught wind of this information, how much did you pursue in order to? I mean, I'm assuming you was very young.
Yeah, I'm young.
So you can't really, like, you know what I mean. But so it didn't really mean nothing to you at that point.
All it meant was, I guess I'm not going to be a footballer. Like,
okay, you didn't understand the severity.
At this point, it's just like, cool, I guess I'm not going to be a footballer. You get me? And I guess like, yeah, I guess I'm not going to leave the country and come back into the country or whatnot. But again, that could be just me saying that now. From my memory, I wasn't thinking about shit. I just went to school the next day and I was still kicking ball. You get me? I was still playing for my teams or whatnot. But I was just now aware, okay, cool. I'm not the same as my brethren that were born here. So I can't move the same as my brethren that were born here. Cause them men are going to France to go play. You get me? Like, I was very much aware as well that I can't let them know the reason why I can't come to the match either. You get me?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, already you being young and having to face that type of, you know what I mean?
It's like, don't tell your brethren why you can't go to the match.
That's a lot for some young
Figure
shoulders.
something out. You get me? Figure something out. Come up with something. Tell the coach, you're not going.
Yeah. Can you remember the excuse that you come up with?
Nah.
I feel you. But yeah, as I said, that's a lot for some young shoulders though. Like thinking about it, like, it's a lot kind of thing.
Yeah,